Today what we're going to look at is perimeter. Now in the previous lesson that we had, we were using distance formula. We were just using distance formula to be able to find the lengths, and that was it. And like I mentioned in that video, is you're not going to have a question on the exam that's going to ask you to just find the distance between 2 points. You're going to have to use the distance formula to solve problems such as perimeter problems on a coordinate plane. So again, to kind of review, perimeter means you're adding up all the side lengths. So for example, if I had something like this, that was 2, 2, 3, and 3. Perimeter means that I'm adding up all of my sides. So again, sorry, I had to pause there for a second for my child. If you're finding the perimeter of this, again, you would add up all your sides. So this side over here, so 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 3. And that would entail giving me my perimeter. So in this case, we get 10. Okay, that would be 10 units. Alright, so the problem that you're going to see in your exam is not going to be something like that. Let's look at one that you would see. Alright, so this is a similar question to what you'll probably have on your exam. Let's say, what is the approximate perimeter of a polygon with vertices, etc., and they will name out your vertices. Now, oftentimes these are not going to be graphed. Just like in your homework, there's actually only one of them that's graphed. You can, if you want to, you can go through and use graph paper and you can plot your points and you can see your lines that way. You don't have to. You can kind of line them up however it is that you want to find them. So I'm going to show you both. Off to the left here, I just made a quick hand-drawn graph of my figure. So negative 3 fourths over here, which will connect until 2, 5, which is over there. And then from 3, negative 3, which is down here. And then negative 1, negative 2, which would go back basically to that point. So you can go through on graph paper, you can graph your figure, and then find your distances of side 1, side 2, side 3, and side 4, and then add them all together. That's perfectly fine. And if that's helpful for you to help you find your distances, by all means use it. What a lot of students will do is, I'm going to take some of that off of there. What a lot of students will do is they'll just kind of line up their points next to each other and find it that way. So let's say I wanted to find this side right here. That side is from negative 3, 4 to 2, 5. Okay, because I have the point negative 3, 4 is over here, and 0.25 is over here. So I can use the distance formula to find the length of that line. And what you'll do, just like what we had in the last lesson, you'll type it in your calculator. Now, you don't have to show this step every time. I'm just going to, just because it's your notes. But we'll do the square root. Remember, distance formula, you subtract your x's. So it'd be negative 3 minus 2 squared. Now subtract our y, so 4 minus 5 squared. And just like the previous lesson, you can just type all that in your calculator. So I'm going to do the same thing with this one. So I get negative 3 minus 2 squared plus 4 minus 5 squared. And that gives me, again, it's usually a good idea to round to 1 to 2 decimal places. I usually use 2. So this one comes out 5.099. So in reality, this one's probably fine to say 5.1. Okay, so that's this side length over here. Again, you don't have to draw it. If you can find your distances without drawing it, that's perfectly fine as well. Alright, so now let's say if I wanted to find this length right here. This is from the point 2.5 to point 3, negative 3. Okay. So again, we just go through, oops, I'm going to put that there. And again, you wouldn't necessarily have to show this step every time, but just for your note's sake. I'm going to subtract our x's, so 2 minus 3 squared plus 5 minus negative 3. It's not showing up very well there. That is a negative 3. It's just not showing up pretty. Alright, so again, we just type that bad boy in our calculator. So we get 2 minus 3 squared plus 5 minus negative 3 squared. That one I get 8.06. So there's this side. Again, I would round to 1 or 2 decimal places, depends on your decimal. Now let's say if I wanted this bottom side, this one would be from, it doesn't matter which point you start from. I'm going to go ahead and just use my 3, negative 3, and I'm going to negative 1, negative 2. Again, in order to find my distance formula, I'm going to subtract the x's. So I get 3 minus negative 1 squared plus, I didn't realize I couldn't finish that parenthesis, negative 3 minus negative 2 squared. And again, we just type that in our calculator. So 3 minus negative 1 squared plus, negative 3 minus negative 2 squared. So then I get 4.123, so probably 4.12 is fine. So this side is 4.12. And now I need to find this last side, which is going to go from negative 3, 4, basically to negative 1, negative 2. So again, I'm going to try to squeeze this in there. But we need to subtract our x's. So negative 3 minus negative 1 squared. And that would be 4 minus negative 2 squared. Let's see if we can find our distance. So again, just typing that thing in there. Negative 3 minus negative 1 squared plus, let's see, 4 minus negative 2 squared. That one I get 6.32. Okay, so the side is 6.32. Okay, so we've done all of that work. Now, like I said, you wouldn't have to show this work all the time. What often a lot of students will do is they'll just kind of show these ordered pairs right here, and then just write they'll just, they would have a 5.1 sitting next to it, and then 8.06, just having those answers necessarily to it. Well, the problem usually students have with this problem, for one, it takes a little bit. I mean, really get comfortable with finding distance formula in your calculator. Go through and do that. Make sure you're comfortable with it. Again, the question wants to know, what is our perimeter? So again, perimeter just means that we need to add up all of our sides. So to find our perimeter, I'm going to have to add those numbers up. I'm going to have to do the 5.1 plus the 8.06 plus the 4.12 plus the 6.32. So I'm going to do that in my calculator real quick. 5.1 plus 8.06 plus 4.12 plus 6.32. And this one I get 23.6. So my perimeter for this one is 23.6. And these are always on the calculator active part of our exam. It is also always multiple choice. So it'll always say what is the most, or what is the approximate perimeter. So it wouldn't be unusual for this one to have an answer choice of 24. Okay. Again, most of them in your homework are like this, where it's just going to give you the vertices. You can graph them out real quick and kind of get an idea what it looks like, and then find the distance between all the points, and then add them up and get your perimeter. You do have one of them where it's already on a coordinate plane, and you're going to have to figure out what the ordered pairs are for each of those spots.